He's the breakout star of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Black Panther is hardly new to superheroics. Since making his debut over 50 years ago, he's been part of countless comics adventures, and with that much action, there are bound to be a few odd bits that you've missed. Here's what you don't know about Black Panther. The first black superhero. Black creators were a part of comics from the very beginning, but on the page, things were drastically different. There were a few attempts at making comics directed at an African-American audience, but with the early days of superheroes, most black characters were sidekicks rooted in unfortunate racial stereotypes. In 1966, however, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby took steps to correct that by introducing a new character in their flagship title. Fantastic Four number 52 introduced the world to T'Challa, better known as Black Panther, king of the African nation of Wakanda. When he was asked about it, Kirby pointed to a very simple reason for creating the character. He realized there weren't any black people in his comics and thought that was a problem to be corrected. With that, the Panther was introduced in a story where he invited the FF to his secretive, ultra-high-tech homeland, only to take them all out in a massive battle in order to test them and find them worthy of helping them. Not a bad debut. Introducing the Cold Tiger. The version of T'Challa that hit the page in his first appearance sported the sleek, all-black costume that he's worn, with a few modifications ever since. Kirby's original designs, however, not only sported a different costume, but a different name, the Cold Tiger. As for how he wound up as the Black Panther, a lot of people erroneously attribute it to a connection with the activist organization of the same name. That's not the case. Stan Lee was inspired by an old pulp hero. The accidental association with the organization led Marvel to briefly change the character's name to the Black Leopard in 1972's Fantastic Four number 119. The Cold Tiger name wasn't completely forgotten, though. In the MC2 continuity, a version of the Marvel Universe set a generation after the current stories and mostly focused on Peter Parker's daughter Spider-Girl, T'Challa's son T'Chaka used it as his own superheroic codename. The Panther fights the Klan. While the Panther would remain a fixture in the Fantastic Four for the rest of the 60s and would join the Avengers in 1968, the early 70s saw him launched into his first solo adventures. It happened in the pages of Jungle Action number 6 and over the next 18 issues, which would tell one of Marvel's most lauded stories. The series reached its heights in number 19. The Panther is pitted against the Ku Klux Klan. Set in Georgia, the story focused on Monica Lynn, a singer who became the Panther's longtime love interest and dealt heavily with racism. It's full of striking imagery, and one issue even ends with the Panther strapped to a burning cross. Before he frees himself, batters his way through the crowd with the wood still tied to his back, and returns to stomp a mud hole in the entire group. Good vibranium. Comic books are full of special metals, but none are quite as interesting as vibranium. In the Marvel Universe, it's only found in two places: Wakanda and the dinosaur-filled Antarctic jungle known as the Savage Land. Wakanda's variety is known as true vibranium, and its rarity is attributed to the fact that it's not actually native to Earth. Instead, the mountain from which it's mined is actually a massive meteorite. It has the ability to store and discharge vibrations, including the kind that come with a kinetic impact, making it able to withstand and even reflect energy. In addition to being used as part of Captain America's shield and even a few of Hawkeye's arrows, you can find it in the Panther's strength-enhancing bulletproof costume. The Dora Milaje. When Christopher Priest relaunched Black Panther in 1998, they delved into Wakanda and its culture in a way that hadn't really been done before. One of the most important additions was the idea of the Dora Milaje, translated as adored ones. The Dora Milaje are highly trained, highly effective warrior women who serve as the Black Panther's bodyguards. And the fact that they're protecting a bulletproof, super strong member of the Avengers should give you a good idea of just how tough they are. They have a second function, though, hinted at by their names. They're also potential wives. Each member of the Dora Milaje comes from a different faction, and as long as the Panther doesn't favor one over any of the others, peace is maintained. Which might be why, when he actually did get married, it was to Storm of the X-Men, rather than one of them. Everett Ross sold his soul for pants. If you've been paying attention to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then you may already be familiar with Everett K. Ross, the CIA agent assigned to deal with some of the more official aspects of life in a universe full of superheroes. In the movies, he's played by Martin Freeman, and made his first appearance in Captain America: Civil War. In the comics, however, he had a bit of a rocky start. As an agent working for the State Department, he was assigned to be a liaison to Black Panther during the hero's visit to America. Needless to say, the self-proclaimed king of the useless white boys was woefully unprepared to be pulled into the world of superheroics. After losing his pants in a mud wrestling match, Ross found himself visited by Mephisto, the closest thing that the Marvel Universe has to the devil, sitting next to each other in an apartment. With Ross on the couch and Mephisto on a flaming throne of skulls that he conjured up from the depths of hell, the two characters shared a moment when Mephisto granted Ross a new pair of jeans, leaving Ross wondering if he had accidentally sold his soul for pants. The Black Panther movie that wasn't. Superhero fans are undoubtedly familiar with Wesley Snipes from his role as Blade in the movie series of the same name, hitting screens in 1998. The movie not only gave Marvel its first cinematic hit, it also showed that second and third tier characters could be given a new life in film with the right idea behind them. But what even diehard fans might not know is that Blade wasn't Snipes' first attempt to bring a superhero to life. Long before Ryan Coogler took the helm with Chadwick Boseman, Snipes was dead set on playing the lead in a Black Panther movie. In the mid-90s, Snipes was in talks for a film that would use the fantastic, glorious periods of African empires and African royalty as the basis to bring an inspirational new superhero to the screen. He wanted Wakanda, vibranium, the force field, and the kind of comics-accurate costume that would require him to be, and we quote, just straight bodied up. Unfortunately, as we all know, there's always someone ice skating uphill. While Snipes met with director John Singleton and screenwriter Terry Hayes, the project never came together. Instead, Snipes went on to take a very successful risk as the Daywalker and says today that he supports the new film 1000%. Thanks for watching. Click the Looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.